when you take your first step, the first perfect step. There are thousands of people who are here to see you take that first step. There is no band like this one.
Everybody has waited all off season for this moment to hear that it's game night. And it's time for Tennessee football. And when the pride of the Southland Band forms that main team, you are swimming in Southern college football pageantry.
The American Civil War scarred East Tennessee. The destruction was physical, it was cultural, and it was personal. And it would take years to repair our damaged campus. For our faculty and for our students, the return to peace would prove a difficult and uncertain journey. Because the school was a federal land-grant college, teaching military science was mandatory. Such an obvious military presence seemed an unlikely way to soothe the war-weary and suspicious population. Yet, it did just that. And one reason stands out as to why. 150 years ago, in 1869, this military presence brought with it a band, a small ensemble of brass and drums.
And I think having a band like that from the university, it just kind of brought more excitement, more happiness to the community.
Gustavus Robert Knabe, a Civil War veteran, promoted and directed the little military band for its first 20 years. Upon his death, the entire region mourned his passing. The 2019 version of the University of Tennessee Band practices complex marching patterns and music selections unimagined by that first band.
Come on, folks, we won't have people out there tomorrow telling you you're out of the form. You have to be aware. You cannot just mark time. Some of you are half a step out of the form. A half a step is a mile with us.
The requirements for being a member of this elite group are built on equal parts talent, desire, concentration, and apparently sweat.
It gets hot. This thing, so hot.
But it's worth it.
It is worth it, for sure. I love it.
This is a really good show, folks, but you've got to come out and be ready to go.
Well into the 20th century, the band was distinctly a military band, all male and never more than 30 members. Today's trombone section alone is larger than any Tennessee band in the first 60 years. The Tennessee Band existed 22 years before there was a football team. It took 12 more years until 1902 before the band performed at a football game. Fittingly, Gustavus Knabe's son, William, was the band's director at that first game. The marriage of marching band and football team proved instantly magical and expanded the reputation and celebrity of both throughout the next century. The Tennessee Band's growth during the 20th century reflected the images of a changing nation.
This is Volunteer News. From the Roaring Twenties. Construction of a new football field is completed by students and faculty. It provides a new stage for a band that's grown to 50 members. In spite of the Great Depression, in the 1930s, the band played on. Fight, Balls, Fight is performed for the first time ever and becomes an instant classic. Played by a band now numbering 70 musicians. And for the first time, women have joined them, adding to the pageantry with a 75-member drill team. The war years. Most men on campus heed the call of Uncle Sam. But the women pick up their instruments and save the day. They keep the band alive until our boys return home. By 1949, women were permanent and equal members of the band. In the 1950s, the band got a name. The Pride of the Southland, so dubbed by sports writer Ed Harris. It was the largest band yet, and most colorful as well.
They came up with new uniform colors. They brightened up the field. They became more showmanship. It became less of a military structure. Even though it was still under the ROTC program, it became more of a show on the field. And that's where it started.
Major Riva took us in 1953. I was in the band then. And it took us to Washington, D.C. for the Eisenhower inauguration. As we approached the reviewing stand, we spelled out Ike. Well, that seemed to really please the president to be, and that's one of the fond memories of many that I had.
Much as in the century before, the 1960s brought enormous change with the Civil Rights Movement, the Vietnam War, and a moon landing. Amidst all that, other new forces arrived on campus in the 1960s. The unprecedented growth of mass media, the explosion of pop culture, and the arrival of Dr. W.J. Julian. In short order, the band was moved from the military department to the music department, provided with new uniforms, and learned 15 minutes early to band practice was just barely on time. In the 1960s, African Americans became welcome members of the Pride of the Southland Band. Through the next 3 decades, the Pride of the Southland under Dr. Julian would exhibit growth, innovation, and showmanship.
Every Pride of the Southland member that was in the band for the 33 years that Dr. Julian was the director will remember him as a strict disciplinarian. But he had one phrase that I think sticks with everybody: don't be satisfied with mediocrity.
The ever-present cameras of the national television networks would magnify every new element. The opening of the tee, the famous high-kicking strut, and the groundbreaking circle drill. The drill was charted by a physics major on a massive early computer having far less ability than a basic smartphone.
So this was really the first time anyone had tried to use computers to chart halftime shows. So I programmed in Fortran how a circle would be shaped. I had to program to make the CalComp pen plotter make little circles that we used to show where the band members would be. There was no primitive that drew a circle in those days. So I had to approximate a circle by about a 32-sided polygon. So I wrote the trigonometry to make that, and the CalComp pen plotter would then make things that looked like it.
The momentum continued. Soon, a bluegrass tune played by the band would ignite the fire in 100,000 spectators. The success of the football team on the field meant an even larger national audience could enjoy a Pride of the Southland Band performance. And they did not disappoint. Ever. The Pride of the Southland Band is the third oldest university marching band in the country. In the 150 years of its existence, its role has not wavered.
To see pictures of Pride 150 years ago, they set the foundation for this band and its greatness that it is now.
Now 25 times larger than that first band. The music and the performance of today continue to inspire and unite.
How will we remember this day? You know, a year from now, I will not be able to tell you what that scoreboard said. And so today, as you go down there, I want you to ask yourself that question. How will we remember this day? And I want you, as you tap that I will give my all for Tennessee, I want you to mean it. You're prepared. You're ready.
What we witness today is a bond, a century and a half in the making, that renews itself every fall in East Tennessee and is felt at the very core of the Tennessee faithful.
The Pride stands for something that represents legacies and hard work, people that gave their all, people that just dedicated themselves to this band. They do it because they have passion for the band, they care about the band, and it comes from within. These students love this band, and they don't want to let the band down.
Success for me is just to play well and enjoy every moment with the guys and girls on my left and right. Just enjoy every Saturday and every opportunity that I have left to step on the field because they're numbered.
It's not so much that they played for a particular band director, it's that they played for the University of Tennessee Pride of the Southland Marching Band.
Yes, the legacy and mystique of the Pride of the Southland Marching Band has been 150 years in the making. But clearly, this is just the beginning.
For the Pride, here we go.